What's up, everybody? It's Mal with Nifty Culture. I'm joined today with sophisticated art speculator Nick. We're back talking about some utility and NFT games. We were going to do this earlier, but Nick had to go get married and then go on a honeymoon and then get COVID.
Ugh,
So, how are you feeling, Nick?
I'm back. I'm feeling good. COVID tried to knock me down, get rid of all my dopamine receptors, but they're growing back stronger than ever. I feel the energy. Like I'm ready to rumble.
You're ready to crush it. You know, I'm,
Ready to
I'm really
crush it.
happy that you got COVID now instead of 3, 4 weeks from now, because A, you'd miss Halloween with the children, but B, NFT NYC. That would have sucked to not have you there.
I know. Yeah. And I don't want to be known as a super spreader. I want to be a super spreader of gains, and that's it.
Part of me is like the guilty person in you. I could see you being like, you know what? I want to get everyone sick.
Yeah, fuck these guys.
They
I want to take down some competitors.
they don't know what's
He's
happening.
too competitive right now. Okay, this is a joke, everyone. This is a joke.
Yeah, not health advice. All right, so I guess first let's just hop right into it. There's been a lot of changes. Obviously, the big one for me, the one that I'm shilling the most is Crypto Raiders, just because Crypto Raiders has been awesome to me since we last spoke. I got 8 airdropped mobs, which I'm holding. I'm diamond handing. We are doing a Crypto Raiders mob giveaway for NFT token holders. And now I was able to go fight my 7 Tammys and take down Hogger. So can you walk us through kind of what's been going on that front?
Yeah, it's been really exciting because the combat dungeon releasing was like the first example or like show from the dev team that we brought on board. Adam and Roe, they're both just and then we also recently hired LL2, and just as a team, just the passion and the initiative that they're like taking to ship new updates has been super exciting. So right now, basically with the Hogger Combat Dungeon, we've proved like, hey, we have basic combat functionality, the ability to fight, the ability for your weapons and your items and your stats to influence the damage that you're doing. Um, and so it's a great foundation that like now we can, build on top of. Um, One thing that we're now currently juggling is porting to Unity, which is going to give us a ton of scale on dev production level. P, you know, basically Unity just has all of these libraries that we can tap into versus like having to do a lot of this ourselves on Phaser. So, yeah, Combat Dungeon was great. There's like a super rare weapon in there called the Blade of the Beast. I don't know if you saw, but
I saw one of someone responded because I was running my Tammys the other day and threw it up on Twitter, and someone responded. I got to be honest though, it looks like a pink unmentionable toy. There's a pixel.
I could see the reference. I could see the reference.
I felt like I was playing Cyberpunk 2077 again.
For sure, dude. Well, someone sold one, like a basic hero, just a basic human for point 0.8 ETH because they had a Blade of the Beast. For
Wow.
me, that was super exciting because it literally showed like, hey, like an in-game drop made a material influence on the price of the crypto raider itself, which hasn't happened up into this date because there hasn't been like a rare enough weapon. But yeah, you're in there just wrecking Hogger. And so, I mean, right now it's preliminary and it's basic, but you can see where we can add all sorts of functionality. Where like we can have attack now be like melee
Right.
or a magic attack, right? We can have one-off spells in there that you can use like once per battle, like where you try to stun
Oh,
Hogger for
that's
two
sick.
rounds and stuff like that. Um, so this is really like the foundation, and once you get geared up, now Hogger is like pretty easy for everyone to beat. So we're thinking of like potentially in a week or so, like having like a beefed up Hogger come out or something like that, just to give a little bit more
Hogger
with some,
Prime.
yeah, with like some slightly better items or something like that. um but yeah,
Yeah.
the foundation is really here. So I the team is having a meeting um, this week or weekend to just go over the roadmap and see specifically how we want to attack all of these different initiatives. because we have a lot coming down the pipeline. But another big update with the crypto raiders that you talked about is the mobs. And that's something that I'm super excited about because a lot of people in the community have like talked about just all the possibilities of community ownership and all these different things. So for those that
Right.
don't know, mobs are a new NFT that we launched and we airdropped it to the entire community, and you essentially can own the enemies in the dungeons, which
Which
is
is like
super.
the craziest thing when you think
Yeah.
about like all the coins that we hate right now. Because you and I are in agreement, even though I do have some zombie toads and I'm collecting brains, but
It's
it's
cool. I hate on it a
no,
little too much.
but I agree with you. It's like it's a little bit overboard, and it's. I don't want to take us off topic, but I'm going to take us off topic. It's like
Yeah.
as soon as the next mechanic comes out, everyone chases it, and
Yeah.
it's like
This is
annoying
like
as
the
hell.
black text box a month ago. It's the
It's
same
the
thing.
black text box. This is like we can go all the way back to Mad Dog Jones releasing too many,
The burn mechanism.
just a cat. Yeah,
Yep.
he's gonna burn them, and then Dot Pigeon, Blau. Everyone follows with the burn mechanics, and then everyone gets tired of the burn mechanics. So we go to PFP pictures on OpenSea. Everyone does PFP pictures, and then the goats release Forge. We did Forge, right?
Yep.
So everyone's forging. Let's have it removed, and now people are tired of Forge. So now it's like, you know what we can do? Let's go subducts, let's go toads, let's go kongs, let's create, which is really dangerous if you ask me, because they're now securities, and the SEC is like, gotcha, like they're gonna have some fun with it.
Well, and one of the issues that I see is because I think a legal argument that I would make if I was like someone in the SEC or something like that, because like you have to make a case at why certain things aren't acceptable without saying like Axie Infinity isn't, because Axie Infinity, they're like almost a $10 billion game. Like
Right.
they've paved the way and shown this is
But
okay.
it's also it's quite a bit different than like creating value for value's sake, right?
Exactly. Like
There's
I think you have to be able to show a distinction that your NFT can hold and stand on its own. And if you create like a supporting ecosystem that has a token in it, that's fine. But like I think where like the regulatory issues is going to be when it looks like you're literally a token just wrapped around an NFT so that you're an NFT.
Right. That's exactly right. Michael Saylor talks about the proxy of why fiat exists, and talks about Bitcoin and the value and the store of value, right? And so when you think about Axie Infinity, it is the coin is a translation of value for time invested, right? The
Yeah.
machine, you doing things in the game. Crypto Raiders is very much the same way, where there
Exactly.
is an economy that's being created, and the tangible benefits within that economy. And this is why games are going to be so great, is because the value is a metaphor for the time I've invested. All right.
Yep.
And so when you do that, if I have less time, I can go buy someone else's time
Exactly.
through the token, through the item, through that. And like that's a lot different than like I bought 2 toads, I staked them, and now I'm getting a ton of brains.
Yeah.
And like believe me, I love I hope they don't cancel me, because I'm a fan of the project, and I shouldn't be digging on it because I have some and I'm invested. My concern isn't with that project. My concern is with the 1,000 other projects that are coming out a day that are following that exact same mechanic, because they saw that mechanic create a pump. And
we've already seen the blowback from like B Loot and B Gold, where like a lot of people got like super rugged on that. And I think that like if you see some similar action from these things, at the end of the day, here's the thing: I can't even knock them that hard because like what is like there's no, for me, like an ethical or moral difference between like staking and earning a token versus like getting an airdrop, right? Both are like mechanisms to try to increase the value of like the core product. So it's not like I have a moral, like an ethical like thing against it. And I do think some of these good projects, they're gonna like basically allow you to use that token to like mint their next thing. So it is essentially like a pseudo airdrop in a sense. It's just that I think like the airdrops are a lot from a regulatory standpoint, a little bit cleaner than.
I agree. And I left off airdrops as one of the evolutions. And the thing I like about the zombie toads is actually they've announced on the roadmap that the brains can be used for breeding, right? So like there is a use for that, but
they're creating the use case.
Some of them don't. And like that now it's like go to Uniswap and
Once
buy
again,
it.
I think it goes back to the beginning. It's like who's behind the project. You
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
people gave me, I gave Anonymize some crap, and people gave me some crap back that own it, justifiably so. I basically said it's innovative, but for me, it's like innovative from like a DeFi standpoint, not from like an NFT standpoint, and
Right.
therefore, like I don't really like it as an NFT. But the thing is that they did something very innovative, and they have a great team, and they have 0% royalties and a strong community, so they're gonna make it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it comes back to like the community and the team. So if Zombie Toads is a good community, good team, they're going to make it. I mean, the best example of that for me was I minted 100 bananas and they just like went to zero pretty much right after
Right.
launch. My buddy Corey was like, "Don't sell these. The team is great. Like they're going to work hard to make it happen." And they like grinded for 3 months, and I ended up making like 4 or 5x off of it. So,
Yeah.
anyways, long tangent, but um,
Oh, shout
good
out to
team.
Corey. He's one
Shout
of
out
the
to Corey.
best.
He's the man. And
And
Lucky,
yes,
thank you for your well wishes.
it's it's crazy. So let's get back to mobs. Sorry, I took us off on
Yeah.
that tangent,
So
but
the cool thing about mobs, a couple different things. One is like mobs don't die per se, so people
right.
really like that idea. And then also for those that don't know, if you kill a mob or if a mob kills a raider, you get part of their gear. So just imagine this future where you're going to have like guilds that own like 300 mobs, and their mobs are just wrecking raiders getting items, and the items are going into the guild
Into the
inventory, and they're
DAO. Yeah.
disenchanting it to create other
Dang.
gear, or they're using that gear now to like go take down bigger raids they couldn't do previously. It's a
That's
it's a really
brilliant.
interesting, yeah, like ecosystem possibility.
I'm gonna create Mob DAO then if it's not already out there. I don't have time to spend that much time in the Crypto Raiders Discord, but if there is that, let me know. One of the things that's also crazy about the value that Crypto Raiders is creating on top of Raider and Aurum is the fact that these were free airdrops and they've already moved 89 ETH. That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, yeah, and it's just exciting because I think that we've established a relationship with the community where they know that A, we're gonna like work hard and we're gonna ship, but that like B, our number one priority is like whenever we do something, we're gonna give value back to the community. It's pretty obvious that we're not just cash grabbers. We could have made mobs a mint thing, and we could have
Right.
drained 400 ETH out of the community. You know what I mean? For them to have it, but for us, it's more of a long-term play. Like we're trying to build an amazing game. We can make enough on secondary commissions and on the tokens to fuel the funding for the game. So like these different ecosystem plays, we can like essentially just give it to the community and know that they're gonna, love it. People are gonna be able to make money. If they needed the liquidity, they can hold it and have a lot of upside. Um, but just to give some cool stats, mobs, there's going to be 560 unique art pieces. Um, so for like all of the different possible mobs that you could roll. So I mean that's a lot when you think about it.
Well, that's one of the things that like a lot of people were getting kind of interested in is when is the mob art going to be released. And when you
Yeah,
think about it, it's like it's not like a lot of other projects where it's just like, hey, you throw 3D glasses on your base, PFP, and you're good to go. Like to create pixel art that looks this good is really really. I
yeah.
mean, if
These are
you
like
look at the
all unique things. You can't just like slap like different attributes on them like a generative project and pump them out. Like
right,
not only is there 560 variations, then we have to go back and animate them. Well, Ken does. Ken's absolutely amazing.
right,
Another great member of the team. And like people just love Ken's art and the hard work he puts in. So like they have faith that it's going to come in. So today, mobs metadata is going to drop. So you won't have like the image of the actual mob that you have, but
right.
you will have like whether it's a common, what type is it, what kind of special move does it have, um, all of those things will be released later tonight. Excalibur's doing that. And then
That's
like
awesome.
in batches over the coming weeks, we're gonna like upload the actual mob images. So people just wake up one day and they like have their mob art piece. Um, but yeah,
That's
the
sick.
cool thing is like just the amount of art that's going to be here. It's going to create so much depth to the game, and then like so much like optionality. Like could we make a card game one day out of all of this art in the future? You know what I mean? There's so much like recurring value that will be you know, like pulled out of this thing. What I'm really excited about is when we can launch the first mob dungeon where it's like procedurally randomized. So like sometimes you'll come in and there's like five fodder that you got to try to plow through, right? And then there's a legendary boss at the end, or you
That's
roll into
awesome.
another one and there's no legendary boss, but there's like four sets of rare mobs or something like that, right? And it's just going to give people so much depth um, to playability, and then like I just want to see the interaction too. So I mean that's
Well,
still a little while away, but I'm stoked.
that's pretty crazy. The and I was going to ask this question before because I think it's really interesting because I've been running through the classics again because Final Fantasy just the Masters just came out on Steam, but I was playing Final
Diablo
Fantasy.
2 remastered, right?
Yes, I've
Yeah.
been playing a lot of Diablo 2 as well. But what have you guys thought about like adding the run mechanic? Like if you used to play Final Fantasy and you had to run away, like you dropped Gil, and so like it would be an interesting Aurum either burn mechanic or repurpose to the mob. Where hey, if you're a legendary, if they're not powerful enough to beat you and they want to run away, it still costs them something to make that choice so
Yeah,
that you
like
can,
they drop a couple items, but it's not as bad as if they get killed or something like that,
or they have their Aurum balance, right? A lot of them are going to have some balance
where you can
where
kind of just pay
yeah,
to
they
pay
can
to
choose like do you drop your gold or an item, and they can
yeah.
choose. I don't know. I don't want to go overboard, but I think
No,
like
no, totally. It's a great idea. And that's actually we were like, because we have two stat mechanics, charm and luck. So we were considering, because we want to build some really just interesting possibilities with those, right? And so like maybe if you go heavy luck, you're a little bit weaker, but maybe if you want to escape, you have like a significantly higher chance. And escape is like a one try option. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Where it's like you try to escape and it's like, oh no, you can't go. Well then you're in it to, try to YOLO yourself out.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, we're going to talk about crypto raiders too much if we if
Yeah,
we
let's
keep
pivot.
going.
Let's pivot.
Yeah,
Pivot.
let's do the hard pivot. So some of the other games that are on my radar, and one of the things that I'm just excited about just the massive amounts of utility that are starting to come into this space. Phantom Galaxies is a game that came on my radar not too long ago, but it came actually through someone in our Discord on the Nifty Culture Discord. But what do you think about some of the ideas that have been popping? Like this game looks pretty awesome. I encourage it, and I don't know much about it. I'm curious if you've taken a closer look at any of this, or we're just all starry eyed with the art that's coming through here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really is what draws me in. I mean, who doesn't like if you're a gamer? Who doesn't like a great trailer like that right there? You just see
Right.
that, and you're like, get me in there right now. So I'm stoked on this game. I would like to learn. So like, what's really going to be interesting, right? Is because when you see something like this, you look and you're like, that's from an actual studio, and that's a studio that's now like opening the game to oh cool, look at that. Yeah, so they got a roadmap right there. So Q4 the collectibles will come out. So that's the real question I'm trying to see, is because there's people that are coming from the NFT space and building games, and they unarguably are going to have less experience and maybe more troubles building the actual game. But a lot of those people come from an approach of like they understand how to create value from an NFT perspective, and that's a huge part of keeping a community invested. Like look at like cyberconks, right? Like people are fanatic about cybercoms. One of the reasons is they've made so much money off of cybercoms. It's the same with crypto raiders. Like people have made 20 30x. They're like, I'm in this, like, you know what I mean? So I'm curious to see the games coming from like a game standpoint, like they're good developers of games. Will they be able to do the NFT strategy properly, right? Because the challenge with games is like you have to address two sides. You have to like make the game accessible for everyone, but you also have to make it where people can make money and accumulate, and like whales can come in and stuff like that, right?
You tweeted about that actually
Yeah.
earlier today, where like it's going to be this balancing act where you need to make it accessible because you have to have a player base, and many of the whales aren't going to have the time, energy,
They don't want to
resources.
be playing
Yeah,
100 characters, you know what I mean? So they need a way to like, sliding scale up. But I love the graphics on this game. And when I was like looking at it and like seeing the fighting and stuff like that, I was just thinking in my head like, dude, I'm gonna go so hard like when there's like that actual competitive game like this, and I'm like buying my gear and my skins and stuff like that. And instead of because like like a lot of times when you get in an NFT project, you have to buy like 20 of it to have like a lot of exposure, or like 10 of it, right?
Like
How
my
cool would it
nine
be just to have
families.
one avatar? Like that's your guy you own in the game, but you deck them out like in a big way. And that's what I sort of thought when I like saw this game is like, I'm grinding, fighting a guy.
Yeah.
I buy a six, gun upgrade or something like that. I'm just blasting people.
I couldn't agree more. It's that's like the Destiny style, right? Like
Exactly.
you
I
you
want
may
the Destiny
have
style
three
game.
characters of different
Yep.
like types,
Builds.
but
Yeah.
you're not doing a lot of other stuff. And I think there's some creative ways that you could have decay mechanics, where if the character isn't if the character is in a wallet with another character and it's not being used, it suffers some sort of
Yeah. So people don't
um,
just sit on them.
yeah, so it becomes less valuable over time. Like there's a lot that they can do, but I agree with you. It's really interesting that this game is. I mean, it looks fantastic, and the AAA aspect is really exciting. They're
Yeah.
also copying, Moonray game. Part of they were on Nifty Culture. In fact, they're doing the first airdrop of Nifty Culture token
Oh, sick.
holders for whoever forged within our tokens. But Moonray is being built on Bitcoin via stacks. I'll pull it up in a second. But what's interesting is like there's this path to the actual game being created, and Moonray is doing the same thing where they need time to actually develop the game and get out in front of it, but they want to release it during the NFT cycle. And so they're coming out with what's called Path to Moonray or Journey to Moonray. So they're going to come out with a twin stick shooter that's going to be accessible in Q4. And then the full game MMO experience is going to be coming out in 2022.
Looks
And we're
sick.
actually going to be
Yeah.
releasing.
We talked about these guys on our first video.
Yeah,
I love this.
absolutely. Yeah.
Kind
And
of
so
has like a
we,
Halo look almost with the outside
yeah,
fighting. And I love like the swords too. One question I'm trying to wrap my head around for a lot of these is like, how do you make it? How do you make NFTs have value without making the game just like inherently play to win? You know what I mean? And I mean that's a challenge that we're trying to figure out at Crypto Raiders, and I think all games are trying to figure out. But you know what I mean? Where it's going to be frustrating if you like spend $1,000 like gearing up your character, you're super excited, and you go into like one of these like PvP matches, and this dude just one taps you in the head with like the mythic gun, you know what I mean? And you're just like,
yeah.
oh come on man, like how can I beat that guy? How that's an interesting problem to try to figure out like how to solve.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because we're in this period now where y'all are tasked with the innovation to create the maturity until the next AAA studios are created on NFTs, and it's likely going to be y'all. It's likely going to be these types of people. But some of the ideas that I've had is like extreme cooldowns. So instead of permadeath, that actually costs you the NFT. And I love that Crypto Raiders is doing permadeath in certain instances and
Yeah.
providing that opportunity, the risk reward, so people can
So like a cooldown like on an item, you think?
a
Like
cooldown on an item or a
yeah,
cooldown on the character. So like let's say you do get wrecked, do you have a month cooldown
yeah,
where like it's not going to lose you're not going to lose the item, which if you lose thousands of dollars, you're going to
it's
have
gonna suck.
an emotional response,
You're gonna have a
right?
shitty day. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you have a cooldown, you're going to have a really shitty day too, but at least
Yeah.
it's not, I think there's a lot of mechanics that can come into that. So I'm curious to see what a lot of that and it's going to be a lot of trial and failure, right?
It is.
And y'all are
Yeah,
at the
and
forefront.
like giving the people the grace to like pivot and stuff like that. Like one way you can kind of balance like PvP is by, you know, making it so you have like a certain amount of like points almost, like a
Yeah.
salary cap almost, like on how the gear that you can have on your character based on their level. And then like even if you get like an ultra rare weapon that's like badass as stuff, you have to make some, kind of sacrifice like where your armor can still be visually cool, but like the stats have to be low enough, right? Where there's like some sort of like balance where because you want it where like even like a guy coming in on doesn't have the best gear, they got like a fighting chance to, still whoop a little ass.
Yeah, and I think some of the card games are doing that. Like they have it so like you can only go 2 levels up or 2 levels down. Some
Oh,
of
interesting. So they almost like force you to like you kind of scale up. If your deck's super powerful, you're only fighting other super powerful decks. I love that.
Yeah, so the two options are like you do that,
That's
or
smart.
they do have the level scaling where your max attributes. So like let's say you are a level
Ah, they kind of
100.
curve up.
Yeah, and so like you'd take a penalty, you'd still look cool, you'd still look awesome, but you for that battle you would be
Like
within.
normalized
Yeah,
almost. Yeah,
exactly. So it would put you as level 15 or whatever. So
very
those
interesting.
are two ways that I think
Those are
and
smart.
Warcraft did it well. There have been a couple other instances of games that have done it in interesting ways, and they've done it with like the scalable dungeons, right? Where if you
Yeah,
go on a raid, you can now do molten core at level 20, but it's going to
I
scale
love
based on
molten
the
core,
number.
man.
Yeah, the old days, right?
Well, and actually, that's really interesting too, because one thing that you just made me think about is like, you know what? Like in World of Warcraft,
Hmm.
at level 60, if I went up, in an arena or in a battleground against someone way better geared than me, they still had an inherent advantage. So like that's just a part of gaming. But if you grind up enough where you still have good loot, like even if someone outgears you, you can still outskill them. And I think
Right.
that's the balance at the end of the day, is that like gear influences stuff, but skill can make a little bit of a difference. Let's talk Arcadians.
Yeah. So, and the Arcadians have been on our channel. They're launching very shortly. What's interesting about this company, OP Games, is they've actually shared a lot of their roadmap and what they're doing and how they're going to be creating some of these scalable games and experiences. Oops, I just went too full on that. But Arcadians is going to be another cool project. I don't know why. I really like some of this pixel art, but the game looks really interesting. In fact, one of the NFTs that's going to be coming out is going to be a custom one of one that's going to be released after the fact. So it's definitely a game that I highly encourage everyone take a look at. I'm trying to get to their
Is this
website.
out yet?
No, it
This has
mints.
been
It
spanned though,
mints.
huh?
Yeah, it mints on the 12th, which is going to be. I think it's going to be one of those projects that kind of
Is
sneaks
there
up
a
on.
pre-sale or anything like that? I've never gotten into a pre-sale. I'm the worst at those.
I'll ask the developers. I'd like to be in the pre-sale.
Yeah.
There's a
Tell them
pre-sale,
we'll talk about them all the time. I agree with you. I love that art. That's a really great pixel art.
right?
Um, just in terms of the quality. So I would definitely like to buy into this game. So the only favor I ask you, Malachi, is if I somehow stupidly don't remember this on mint day,
Yeah.
give me a ping because I don't want to miss this. I'll kick myself. Look at
Bro,
that. That's
I
cool.
I pinged you about 17 times about those punk toads and you didn't listen. I needed you to listen.
How are they doing?
I don't know, probably not that good. But,
Dude, by the way, I love your Punk Toad profile pic, though. When someone, because I change my profile pics all the time, and you don't recognize them, like you
yeah.
picked the perfect one where I still knew it was you. You know,
Well, so that's actually a custom piece and we've had Paper D on a couple times. And Paper D is he's a treasure, and people shouldn't be sleeping on him because the dude is the creative director at DreamWorks, or one of the creative directors at DreamWorks, and he's in the NFT space, and like he sells NFTs, and people are just like, oh, let's resell for 0.05, but so basically, if you have a bored to death NFT, he releases these variants of the NFT projects. And so, because the toads got so popular, here's Tropo's NFT toad that was created for him
that's
because
cool.
he owns bored to death. So, what's cool about what Paper D is doing is he's actually allowing people that buy his art access to have these custom pieces that are made. And if you
That's
look
pretty
up,
ingenious. I like that.
yeah, well, it's really, I feel bad because like it, the token is this one. It's bored to death, and actually, I don't feel as bad for him now because I bought it at 0.05, and so people are seeing the value. So anyone who owns this token, and this wasn't planned, it's not like we're trying to pump him or anything, but if you bought this NFT, there's only 100 of them. He gave me my fat ape. After that was done, he's done a drop for Metakey that's doing pretty well. And so yeah, if you got some disposable income and you like toads and have an ape, I recommend doing that and reaching out to him because that's how you're going to get your custom toad. So I firmly believe that whatever the next project is that gets hyped, he's going to have that available for collectors as well. So I'm thankful to him, but I appreciate it because that was my concern with my PFP is like, I'm known as the dead ape sushi. I got my Halloween costume, which I hope doesn't offend anybody. But I was really nervous to make my PFP this, but I think it did a really good job.
Dude, I love it. I think it's sick. It's you. It's you to the T. I'd hold that to the moon, man. I need to get in on this custom PFP thing. And too perfect. I'm gonna come hang out in the NFT culture chat more often. Danny just made fun of me for that too. I need to cut down on the discords. I got too many discords. I need a Discord personal assistant that can go into all these like random project discords so that my Discord can just be like the six groups that I love, you know?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know how it
and
is. Like,
it's ridiculous. Nevin needs to create like a Discord tool for us that
seriously.
like Nevin, if you're watching, you need to fix it for us. And if you don't know, Nevin's Underground membership token, you can buy one for half an ETH. I'm not telling you to because I'm not supposed to be talking about it, but you can buy Nevin's Underground. Not financial advice. You may or may not
I
get
have
value
made
out of
some
it.
good money on the calls in there. That's why I keep buying all the upgrades.
Yeah, I feel like it's like
It's
it's
kind of
like
like a tax on like great information. You just pay it. Like I didn't even know because I've been so busy. I didn't know about the plus thing, and then like I just like it's like oddly quiet in here. Then I start seeing these like pluses in everyone's names. I'm like, what's going on? Am I on the outs? Am I on the outskirts? But yeah,
you got to bend the
great.
knee, right? And
Yeah,
when,
exactly.
when
Gotta
Nevin
bend the knee
says,
every once in a while in life. There's
"Pay me
no
my
money
money,
to be
man,"
made being prideful. No money to be made.
shout out to Nevin. All right, what other? We're going to talk about one or two other
Yeah,
projects
just some
today.
like quick things from like a trading standpoint. So I bought like 4 ETH of Vox collectibles when they were down at like point 2 ish. They've like almost they've doubled in um some of the like certain classes have like tripled and stuff like that. I don't have a really good read into it, but my understanding is they've now like launched Gala Games has launched a game where you can play with these Vox collectibles and like do these activities in the game to earn tokens. So like and if you have been following Gala Games at all, like they're looking to be like a really good studio. So I had like 15 and I like sold down to like 5 and I'm gonna hold the 5 now for a long time. Yeah, it's Townstar. Yeah. Mm.
So you need to ping me on these. This is the thing. Like I will go in. I'm tired of spending money on PFPs, but for utility projects, like I was pissed that I missed out on the Habos, which they're coming back down to earth. But these types of games are just where the future's at. Like the accessibility of this, I think there's going to be a bunch of them. When you think about the gaming industry at large, people don't realize that Axie is worth more than Fortnite. If someone said that, and I think that's correct.
Yeah.
But like Fortnite's just one game out of so many different games that exist. It's crazy to just think about all of the games that are going to be coming. So like there's not going to be one or two or three winners in the NFT utility space. It's going to be all of them, and I just can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, same. And like now I'm trying to figure the strategy of like how to like speculate on these, but then also like find the ones that I really love and want to play. Like that game in particular, like I'm more of like I want to play like a PvP esque game. So I'm really looking forward to something like that. But yeah, so that's why Vox collectibles went up. And then you briefly touched on it, but another project that I really like because it's a huge nostalgia thing for me is Habbo. So I like aped into Habbo. I own like 45 Habbos. Um, and for me it's just the reason why I like the project is because I know how this game's been around for like 20 years. I played the crap out of it as a kid, and it's like the perfect. It's more of a social experiment than an actual game, or a social experience than an actual game. But they already have like all of the infrastructure. Like this is essentially what I wanted to do with like voxel villages in the voxel villages idea, which now looks like it has to be tabled or pivoted in a hard way. um because like if you've ever played Habbo, like there's furniture, there's like you furnish your rooms. The furniture has like utility where like you can play casino games on dice and like all sorts of these different things where like when these things talk about like I want a social metaverse where I can go and like hang out with my friends and then go into a trading room and then I can go like gamble at the casino. Like Havo had all of that in like the year 2000. So the price is pulled back like really significantly. Like I think pre-reveal is like up to point 7, point 8. I think it's just going to sit in one of those accumulation phases until there's like a newsworthy event. But on their roadmap, they have like by the end of this year, like you're going to actually take the Habos in and like be able to go into rooms and start to do these experiences. And then when I think that when people do that and then all of that footage comes out, people are going to go bananas over it because it's going to be over like winter break. Like the timing's probably going to line up beautifully. So I like the project. It's like a nostalgia play for me. I'm holding a lot. I'm not going to sell them for a while. But I just think that it's a setup that could work out. Because, dude, how long have we been talking about the metaverse and you can't? It's not there. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
Habo had it in the year 2000. So I just think about a bunch of NFT gens just going into trading rooms and talking alpha with their Habo characters. Like, oh, sick, dude! You got that new like HC sofa or the thrones. Like, how much are those going for right now?
I can't wait. You just said something. My wife and I are going to Vegas in a couple weeks, and I really want a metaverse craps table. I'm sure they
Dude,
exist, but they aren't
with
they
Hava
aren't everywhere.
Hotel, you could literally play blackjack. I mean, when you
That's
think about the
awesome.
legality of it, I was like 12 years old and I'm going into casinos and you gamble something and
Double
you're just
down.
watching the dice spin and hoping you hit blackjack and um we me and my brothers made enough money trading Fernie that then we could afford to run our own casino. And then you saw like running the casino, you just made big. You know what I mean? It was just a math game. The only thing you had to worry about when you first started was like a whale coming in and blowing you out. So sometimes you had to kick people like, you won twice, buddy. Sorry, we got to get you out of here. You got hot hands.
Dude, that's awesome. That's great. I have one more that I put in here, and we'll call it a day.
Cool.
It's Bizarros. It's an
Yeah,
interesting
I saw
project.
these.
They haven't sold out, but it's
I know. I
I
liked them.
yeah, and the dev is awesome. I know him. His name's Sasha. He's part of the Gutter Cats. I'm shocked that the gang didn't just come in
What? Yeah.
and
What's
just.
it at right now? What's the sell?
I'm trying
Sell
to
to?
see. Hold on. I'm probably going to pick a couple up if my MetaMask would work. But it's one of those projects I believe in it long term. Oh, yeah, it's got a ways to go. So this is one of those that I keep on the radar for some time because I know Sasha. I know Sasha's doxed, a creative mind, brilliant. And once you get these, they're all 3D already. The
That's what I'm
utilities,
saying. Like, look at that. Like, that's why I'm like, it's like it's a little bit of a bummer to me. Like, projects like this don't sell out, and then there's just these. I'm not gonna say stupid because then everyone gets mad at me, but like stupid game and random NFT projects. You know what I mean? That like 5x just because they're a pump and dump meme. But um, I think this looks great. I would definitely bet on them. And what Crypto Raiders was a slow mint. I think a
right?
lot of times games are slow mints because people buy to play and so it takes time to like get people interested in a game. It's sometimes not as easy as just, oh, I'm going to mint a PFP and flip it. So but I really do like what these guys are doing. So um and I think they could do some sort of like creative things like even with selling 3,000 at point zero eight, that'll fund game dev for a while. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
could cut the mint to 3,000, 4,000, and make them Genesis characters or something like that, and then do a second mint, a couple months later. They got a lot of options, but I'm rooting
And
for
that's
them.
going back to your thing as well. Like when you say like, for exposure, are you buying 40 of these that you can't even use? Like for these types of projects that have a slow burn, like it's one of those things. I got one earlier. I'm going to get another one, but I'm not going to go buy 40 of them, hoping that I can flip them for
Yeah,
10x. And
yeah.
so if more
Games
people
are a
just buy
different.
one,
Yeah,
yeah,
games are a different space. It's like super interesting, and like then there's like weird challenges. Even from the dev standpoint of like how do you if someone wants to own 100, like how do you even make that? So at Crypto Raiders, we're gonna do like a guild launch, which I'm really excited about instead of like scholarships. But anyways, long story short, I really did like Bizarro Worlds. That was one of those projects when I saw them, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna mint these, but then they didn't sell. So I'm a capitalist at the end of the day. I want to see a nice return. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, someone give me a PvP game where I can just have one character. That's the thing. You need to have basically you buy like one character for like, point 0.1 or point 0.2 or whatever like that. And then it's like the items that you need to like accumulate on top of the character.
Yeah.
There's been some yeah, well, I don't know about you, but with me, there's just so many projects. It's so hard to keep tabs on everything. And like, let's be real, we want to go play Diablo 2 remastered. We're not sitting in these NFT games for hours every day. You know what I mean? They're just not there yet. So I'm excited for them to get there. What is Avagachi's? This guy really wants us to talk Avagachi's.
Yeah. So Avagachi's hold on, I'm telling him to come and talk on the show if he's that passionate. We actually talked to the creator of Avagachi's, John, who you've interacted with a couple times on some of the tokenomics for crypto raiders. But John comes from the DeFi space, and he's a huge fan of Avagachi. It's one of those games that was like I was, and this is one of those things that I was intimidated by. Just so everyone knows, like there's a level of sophistication that comes in with these types of events. And so when you start getting on layer 2 and you start talking about liquidity pools and you start talking about all that, it was scary for me. Now it's second nature. Like I flip my raider, I stake my raider, I get my Orem like every morning. I'm just doing it. And what's cool is like I'm making $60 every single day on top of having 9 Tammies that are worth basically 0.2 and 8 mobs that are worth 0.2. Like that's wealth generation that every day I'm having this, and it's not going to last forever. Eventually,
Yeah,
the 300% return is going to decrease as
normalizes out.
more,
It
yeah,
curves out.
which is
Exactly.
good.
Yeah,
That's a
and then
good
by the
thing.
time you get there, it's people the game's developed to a point that people are coming to play, not necessarily make money, but they'll be able to earn with the play to earn, but they're coming in with a different mindset of like buying one or two characters and like grinding them out. And
Right.
essentially early adopters, they get rewarded for the risk that they take on. That's why like crypto raiders, early adopters are getting rewarded so hard because they took a huge risk
Right.
and that risk has funded the game. And so, you like if you reward risk in NFTs, you generally have a good project on your hands.
Yeah, it was the best. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful that you. I remember when you told me
Hey,
how you found crypto
I
raiders.
a project that won't be named may have done miserably for a lot of people that I know. I hope that I made up with it
Which
with a good
ones?
crypto raiders call. Those that will not be
Just kidding.
named. But hey, I mean that's the thing at the end of the day. Like even the best people out there, you're gonna have flops and you're gonna
Yeah.
have winners. But as long as you're trying, it'll work out good. But yeah, man, crypto raiders is fun and humble beginnings.
Yeah.
No one talks about when they were just on white backgrounds, pre Ken art. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Just an idea, really. There
I-
was
you know,
no gameplay previews or anything.
it's one of those things like blind faith. And actually, I just so shout out to All Ether. I talked to him via email yesterday. He's taken a break from the space, so you probably haven't seen him since you've been distracted. But
I haven't seen him in a while.
yeah, he's been hanging low lately, but he's doing well. I think he'll come back soon. So I hope he
Awesome.
comes
I
out
love
to.
that guy. He's
He's
the
one of
man.
the best. Yeah. So I'll tell him you said hi. And Addison, hey man, I don't know enough about Avagachi. We're doing NFT Culture Happy Hour in a couple hours with the crew, so we'll talk about Avagachi then. If you want to come on and ask some questions then, or talk about it, I'll make sure we talk about Avagachi later this afternoon. But Nick, dude, I miss you every time. And by the way, real quick, Danny was right. The greatest game is the game of NFTs and friendship. I feel like everything that we're doing right now.
Oh god, you're reactivating the COVID with that one, dude. That I loved it. I'm so happy Danny's back, dude. I absolutely love that guy. And you know what's so poetic? I'm back after like being in and out for a month. He took a month or 2 month long break. The thing we fell in love with together, bonsais, is now on an
Bonsai,
absolute
bonsai.
ripper. Absolute ripper, dude. I sold like I kind of regret it now, but I sold like 5 ETH or 6 ETH of I still got like 15 of them, but like it's just like, oh, I can't believe the bonsais came back, dude. The bonsais
The
are
bonsais are back.
the bonsais are back in town. Little remix.
All right, man. Well, look, it's always a pleasure when we have you on. And, I listen to you and Nick and Pio every morning. Make sure you follow Sophisticated Art on Twitter because
Never made a
he
bad call. 100% of them
never,
right.
and their alpha is, I lose money when I listen to y'all. So
Oh,
I
I'm
bought the jellies because of you. I bought those notorious, not you, but the show.
The
I bought the
frogs were
notorious
bad. The
frogs.
frogs were bad.
I just
That's
got
on
out of
me.
them.
That was a
But
rough one. I was on the NFT space is in a weird phase right now. My like radar is all miscalibrated, but I'm gonna get it back.
it's the COVID brain. But
It's
I do want to
COVID brain.
say, like, you, Pio, and Nick have one of the most
It's fun. It's a good
fun
time.
events. And Pio's going to be coming back on our show. Everyone's asking questions. Where's Pio? Why is he on a new YouTube? Pio loves talking about alpha. The NFT culture doesn't talk that much about alpha. So it's the best of both worlds. The rising tide lifts all boats. Nifty
Amen.
Nick is one of the best. So you're going to see all of us. You know where to find us. And Nick, I can't wait to see you in New York and give you a hug and pour some Jack Daniels somewhere.
Jack.
Jack. And shout out to Nevin and VIP party November 1st, New York City. We're doing it live. Sven is going to kill me. The Mad Pups are co-sponsoring it. So if you know the type of people that the Mad Pups work with, the type of talent, the type of artists that are going to be there, it's a can't miss event. You can't get in unless you own a Nifty Culture token or a Noobs or something else that will be announced later.
That's gonna be fun.
We're going to have a hell of a night. And
Hell
thank you, Nick, for everything.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Bye.